afternoon. This is Autumn.
Hello, Autumn. I'm interested in making a donation today.
Fantastic.
What about abortions for the underprivileged minority groups? I want to specify that abortion to help a minority group. Would that be possible? Like the black community, for example?
Certainly.
Okay. So the abortion could be, I could give money specifically for a black baby. That'd be the purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. If you wanted to designate that you wanted your gift to be used to help an African-American woman in need, then we would certainly make sure that gift was earmarked specifically for that purpose.
Great, because I really face trouble with affirmative action, and I don't want my kids being disadvantaged, against black kids. I just had a baby. I want to put it in his name, so that's definitely possible.
Oh, always.
And we just think, the less black kids out there, the better.
Understandable. All right. Excuse my hesitation. This is the first time I've had a donor call and make this kind of request, so I'm excited, and I want to make sure I don't leave anything out.
Although that recording was from a number of years ago, the mentality of Planned Parenthood is still the same. The mentality of Planned Parenthood is to participate in the elimination of the black community, specifically, and generally in the reduction of minorities. I had a chance to participate in a discussion, a luncheon with the Restoration Project, which is led by Catherine Davis. And I'll put a link to the Restoration Project in the description. And it's a group that looks to really shine a light on what abortion, the worship of the god of Moloch in the Bible, has done in America, but more specifically what it has done in the black community. I've said this over and over and over again. Over 20 million babies have been aborted. Black babies have been aborted since 1973, since Roe v. Wade. The ones you can count. I'm probably sure there's numerous others that have not been accounted for. It's all a through line. The whole plan, starting with Margaret Sanger, and she wasn't even pushing for necessarily abortion. She was pushing for eugenics. She was pushing for sterilization. Her whole goal was sterilization. That's why she pushed birth control. She wasn't trying to push abortion. Abortion was actually pushed by this guy right here.
I'm Alan Guttmacher, an obstetrician gynecologist. I feel very strongly that a man trained in modern medicine cannot carry out the high quality of performance because of the restrictions imposed by our very archaic abortion laws, and I feel they must be changed. The old law, of course, in practically all states was that abortion could be done purely and simply and only to preserve the life of the mother. And from my point of view, that is much too restrictive. You must remember that when these laws were framed, medicine was a very different thing. Most of the laws date from about the 1820s and 30s. At this time, there was no anesthesia, there was no antisepsis, there was no transfusion, and carrying out an abortion must have been a hideously painful and, I should think, a dangerous procedure. Now, since then, medicine has made magnificent progress, and abortion in hospital can be performed with extraordinary safety. And from my point of view, abortion can contribute tremendously to the happiness of the woman involved and very often to the family constellation.
Dr. Guttmacher was a president of Planned Parenthood during the 60s, and he's the one that furthered the idea that abortions can be elective, as you heard, for the happiness of the mother. It's not for safety reasons. It's not for the health and life of the mother. It's all about having an elective abortion for the happiness of the mother. And he's the one that started that push to make abortions more widely acceptable. And you have to understand something. This is the mentality that led to the laws being passed, that led to Roe v. Wade being enacted and decided upon by the Supreme Court. And the whole intent behind it, as I've said multiple times, is the elimination and reduction of the black community. That's the whole purpose behind it. And so I bring up that history because I want to show you this interaction that this pro-life lady had with this pro-abortion woman on the streets of New York. And you'll see that when she starts to bring up biblical truth, that demon, that worship of Molech would rise up and cause her to lash out at the person simply asking her a question and telling her about biblical truth. But before I get to that video, I also want to say that another thing that's very important and critical during this time is your financial health. It's so important that you understand what is going on, especially with the tariffs and this talk of recession. There's so much uncertainty and so much fear in the air. Don't be fearful. God did not give us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. And another way to ensure that you can have a sound mind and not have that spirit of fear is to diversify your investment portfolio with precious metals like silver and gold. If you want a free resource that talks more about this in depth, go to thebiblicalconservative.com/gold. You can click on the link in the description.
You have a channel?
Yeah, we're doing some interviews today.
I love your skin tone too.
Thank you. Such a good vibe.
Of course.
Well, awesome. So we're asking people's opinion today on Planned Parenthood. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what they provide?
Yes. Abortions.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Safe abortions.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know any other services that they provide?
I know, like, to teens, if you're under 18, you could get like birth control, condoms, counseling. They offer a lot of, beneficial things that the youth really should use right now.
Okay. So you have a pretty positive view of Planned Parenthood.
I mean, majority. I don't know. Is this like a yes or no? Am I wrong?
It's your opinion.
But yeah, that is definitely my opinion. I feel like, especially as teens, people get caught up in things that they really don't want to commit to for their entire lives. So if you get caught up with the wrong guy, you think you're in love, and then whoop, now you stuck. Not stuck, but you're stuck with a baby for the rest of this time, literally the rest of their lives and your life, if you're that kind of mother, because some women just don't have it in them and they abandon them and abuse them and all kind of shit. And it's like, girl, just get rid of it if you know you're going to do that.
Get rid of them. Why not just give them to another family? That's good.
No, but exactly, even that. And that's another option that Planned Parenthood offers. So it's like, if you know that you are not the being who can provide for this child, then there are alternative options out there for you. So I think Planned Parenthood is a space that creates something that's safe for women, especially teens, Black and Latina teens especially, because it's free. You can call them, go to them. I know because I've worked with the Children's Aid Society for a long time, so we kind of aligned with them. But yeah, I feel like if, as a woman, pro-choice is your option, because men, if they want to just get up and go, they can.
Do you know that Planned Parenthood gets nearly $700 million of our taxpayer money every year?
$700 million? I mean, honestly, I can't go against Planned Parenthood. I just can't.
Okay.
I just can't.
You think that's a lot of money?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a lot of money, because if we're being honest, Elon Musk, he can literally stop world hunger twice.
Sure, but we're talking about Planned Parenthood, they could stop world hunger. I mean, $700 million a year. Imagine if you made $700 million a year, where you'd be at in a decade.
$700 million for how many single mothers?
Of our money. But they're not giving it to single mothers, though. Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to just, single out where it is that our tax dollars go, then the police, respectfully. They beat on us. I'm a black person, as black people. They beat on us, they murder us, abuse us.
Had to pause there. There's the ignorance that is prevalent in the inner cities, is prevalent amongst a lot of people in the hood. This idea that police are running around beating up black folks is a lie that was perpetrated by the media and exaggerated by Black Lives Matter. The police is not going around killing black people. You know who is going around killing black people? Planned Parenthood.
no repercussions from the state?
No, it's called safe haven baby boxes, where at a fire station or hospital, you can leave your baby and the mother doesn't have to do anything with it. But that's better than killing her baby through abortion, right?
No, ma'am.
It's not better to give your baby up to a family who wants them instead of killing them?
No, ma'am. I have seen so many stories and countless, literally, like countless stories. My grandmother used to teach health and safety classes for people who wanted to become daycare providers. And we've seen so many instances where it's just, I could love you today, I love you to death, you my baby. But as a teen mom, as a mom who's on her own, you have no support. You constantly have to provide. You're here day to day, day and out. It's crying, it's screaming, it's crying. You have nowhere to turn to. Now I stand you up and I shake you and I kill you. When I could have just not had you in the first place because it was never my plan.
You think that teen moms who struggle will end up killing their children after they're born?
Girl.
I'm trying to follow along with your story here.
I'm saying that there's a higher percentage of people who murder their children on accident out of frustration because they don't have the support, especially in communities like this where there's no funding, where there's no programs, where we don't have
shaken baby syndrome, where they shake their baby.
It could be SIDS, but SIDS still also applies to you even laying your baby down on their back and they turn over the wrong direction. They will literally pass away.
Well, yeah, but that's like a death that was going.
It wasn't preventable.
It was
not. No.
But what is preventable?
Is death. SIDS is not preventable.
Well, actually, a large percentage of the children who die from SIDS had a vaccine the same day. So that's another thing. That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other topic with the vaccine.
But I will say to you, like
sudden infant death syndrome, and there have been over 80% of infants who have passed away from it, and it's simply from not laying your baby on their back to sleep.
And that's horrible, but I mean, 1 million babies are also dying a year from abortion.
Again, don't know that. You can die. What's the percentage of women dying from birth? For children that they don't even want, or the men don't even want, who are already refusing to provide for them prior to them even being born. So now what?
It doesn't matter if they're
be a single mom or put my body through this entirely different experience to at the end of it give them up and go home like nothing ever happened. That doesn't make sense to me, as opposed to you being put to sleep, boop boop, take the baby out. It's like you start over.
You don't, because we see post-abortive women and how they deal with abortion, and their chance of turning toward drugs and alcohol skyrockets. They have problems.
What percentage is that? What percentage is that?
Well, I don't have the exact percentage, but I believe it goes up 150%.
And booty, girl. And you had the facts.
Do you know what happens in an abortion?
Facts. Yes.
What happens in an abortion?
They literally suck the life out of you. They're gonna take the whole baby out, and as they should, because I shouldn't be a taxpayer paying child support and food stamps and WIC for women.
You should be a taxpayer paying for abortions.
Exactly. But as for a woman who didn't want the baby in the first place, that doesn't make sense to me. If you told me from the get-go, I can't do this, I don't have the funds, I make $20 an hour in McDonald's, and I live with my mother, and I'm pregnant with twins, and the father told me he doesn't want them.
Why is that the baby's fault?
Exactly my point. You think I should still follow through with this pregnancy?
Yes.
Why?
Because that baby has a life.
That's dumb. Bring 2 more kids into this world that nobody wants.
I want them.
That are 80%. How? You gonna take everybody's baby?
Yes, I will.
80%, baby. That are 80% more likely to get put into the system, molested.
Where is that statistic from?
Girl. With no parents, what do you think the likeliness is of you being molested? Let's Google that right now. Literally. Because your stats
that's not the fault of pro-lifers, though. That's the fault of people that are molesters.
People who are not pro-life. That's the
people that are not pro-life want abortions.
Exactly. That's the people who are pro-life, because you're going to say, I don't
want people molested.
I don't give a fuck about you before you're here, so why would I give a fuck about you when you're born?
I care about both.
Because 98% of the time, it's the male who's going to say, we never decided this was never on my plate.
You decided it when you laid down and had sex.
You're going to turn around and decide, I'm going to have this baby after this man already told you, I don't want this baby. I don't want to be with you. I'm not going to provide. And you proceeded now He looks bad?
Yeah, so my dad didn't want me,
That's
but my mom
crazy.
didn't kill me just because my dad didn't want me.
But and that's her choice. That's
No, it
where
wasn't
the
her
comes
choice.
in. That is her
Because it's
choice,
my-
she
that was
could've
my
went
body inside of her
and
body.
saved abortion.
It wouldn't have been
That's the whole
unsafe
point
because I would have
of
died. How is an abortion
Exactly.
safe if a baby
Girl,
dies?
you're an embryo.
Yeah, an embryo of what?
Of nothing, really.
Of a
because
human.
Embryo, no, you
It's
don't
just a
even,
stage of human development.
You do not even have any kind of limbs yet. You don't even feel physical.
Some people
pain
that
if
are
you go
born
in the
don't
right
have
direction.
limbs. Some people that are born are
You
paralyzed.
have to know what you're doing. You need to just protect yourself if you can.
Yeah.
And honestly, don't have babies with people who don't want to have babies with you. Because people.
But when
like
you're pregnant, you already have a baby.
That you need to be pro-life, and you don't. Don't ever sit here and lock yourself down with a man who already told you he doesn't want to be with you. He doesn't.
I
want
agree
to
with
provide.
you.
I'm not disagreeing with you either. I understand.
You don't get to kill
But
the
what I'm
baby just
saying
because
is
their dad didn't
that
want
you
them.
can.
Should we kill the kids in foster care? And
Why not?
That
Why not? If that's the case,
we should kill the kids in foster care that aren't wanted.
who's gonna take care of them? I need to.
Now, I let that play because I wanted you to see the callousness that this woman has. This shows you what happens when a culture doesn't value life at all. When a culture turns away from God, you have a callous heart. Jesus said that. In the last days, the hearts of many will grow cold. People's hearts are cold. She is heartless, what she just said. And you can start to see that spirit become agitated with her because you cannot be full of God and want to unalive people. Now you're about to see her manifest that demon.
Oh no! Oh, it was a mistake today. Oh my God!
Do you believe in God?
Option to get
Do you believe in God?
abortion?
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you believe God makes mistakes?
Yes.
He does.
Of course. Everybody makes mistakes.
But God is perfect. Are you a Christian?
I never said that.
Are you a Christian?
I would never say that.
Are you a Christian?
My family's Christian.
So you're not a Christian.
I guess.
You guess what?
Based off of what's going on and I guess my lineage is Christian. I wouldn't say that my full belief is a Christian belief. There's no abortion. You have to stay married. If you're pregnant with that man, you have to be married. There's so many restrictions and constrictions when it comes to religion that is.
There's a reason for that because it protects people.
But that's dumb as because religion is all hearsay, baby. All you listening to is a Bible that somebody else told you, somebody else wrote.
Nobody told me. I've literally encountered God.
So you spoke to God and He told you everything in the Bible. Shut the f- up.
He
You
first
sound
spoke
dumb
to me.
You sound dumb as f- Listen, there's a thing called cosmopolitanism, which literally is saying there's this one big glorious story that combines all of the religions. Because if you read the Bible, you can search into Buddhism, being a Muslim, anything that you need, they all kind of provide the same story in a different version. But it's still all hearsay. It's all hearsay. It's all, my auntie told me, my niece
My
told
auntie
me,
didn't tell me.
My auntie told me. You think these biblical writings are all just what? Off the brick? Like you can't be that naive.
There
I
are
see
over
that you're a
40
smart
men
woman.
that actually
Come
wrote
on
the
now.
Bible.
Oh my God, you one of those. You
That's just the history. That's just the history of Jesus Christ and the Bible.
It's not. We started from Pangea.
So what does the Bible say about human
it's
life?
The Big Bang Theory. Our entire life is science and math, and I think you're
an
an idiot
atheist
if you don't think it is.
So you went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that
You
your
did.
point of view is very obstructed, and I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
Stop playing with me. What's wrong with you? Stop playing with me.
Oh my God.
She attacked my my wife.
Yeah, wife is attacking. She just punched me in the face. We were just doing a street interview with my camera and everything was fine for over 20 minutes or however long we were filming, and then she just punched me in the face. Oh my God.
Yeah, the dress, woman, I can't miss it.
Look to the right.
No, she's not them.
She's big. She's tall.
And she had one like, yeah, I'm watching. I'm looking. Just go.
3-2 body light dog. 2 body light dog. Number 184 with the post, the body light post. Yeah, for 1 minute, disregard.
I know that was long, but I wanted to play that entire video to show that whenever a society turns its back on God, whenever a society gives into the debased, satanic practice of unaliving your offspring, you usher in the spirit of Molech, you usher in demonic activity. And you can tell that that young lady who punched the pro-life interviewer was full of demonic oppression, because you can see it rile up inside of her as the lady started talking about the Bible and started talking about Jesus. She was all cool, even when they were disagreeing on pro-life from a scientific standpoint. But when she started talking about the Bible and started talking about Jesus, that's when that lady snapped. We have to be bold. We have to be smart. We have to be wise, because when we go out into this world, these people hate the truth. They hate the truth of the gospel. And so we're going to run into resistance. But the Bible says the righteous are bold as a lion. God has his angels protecting us. And so as long as we're in his will and operating according to what he wants us to do, we'll be protected, because we're not victims. We are empowered for greatness.